From scandalous affairs to marriages, join us as we take a deeper look into the love life of Elizabeth Taylor, starting from her early days in Hollywood to her final years. Let's start from the beginning. Elizabeth Taylor's first love was none other than her National Velvet co-star, Mickey Rooney. She was just 14 years old while he was a married man in his 20s. According to the explosive new book, The Life and Times of Mickey Rooney, by authors Richard A. Lertzman and William J. Burns, Elizabeth had a passionate affair with Mickey when she was only 12 years old and they were both under contract to MGM. But it was their time filming National Velvet 2 years later that led to the scandalous incident. Betty Jane, Mickey's second wife, who was pregnant at the time, caught Elizabeth and Mickey in an inappropriate act together. This caused Betty Jane to immediately file for divorce. A friend of Betty Jane, Pam McLenithan, shared her thoughts on the situation. She went to visit her husband at the studio one day. When Betty Jane reached his dressing room and opened the door, she found Elizabeth and Mickey together. After that, all hell broke loose. It was a shocking revelation for Hollywood at the time, but it only seemed to add fuel to Mickey's already notorious reputation as a womanizer. He was known for his diminutive stature, standing at only 5 foot 2 inches, but he had a certain charm that seemed to attract women like a magnet. In his memoir, Life is Too Short, Mickey admitted that his appeal was a combination of early Neanderthal and late Freud, and claimed to have charmed women with his sense of humor. Elizabeth, on the other hand, never publicly spoke about her affair with Mickey, leaving her true feelings a mystery. However, this scandalous relationship set the tone for her future relationships, passionate but often short-lived and full of drama. As Elizabeth's affair with Mickey Rooney made headlines, another celebrity caught her attention: Glenn Davis, a Heisman-winning running back for the Army. They met at a touch football game on the beach and quickly started dating. Elizabeth was smitten with Glenn's good looks and athleticism, while Glenn fell for her frank, wonderful face. Their relationship progressed quickly, and after just 5 months together, they became engaged in March 1949. However, the engagement was called off just before Glenn shipped off to Korea. It was a disappointing end to a promising relationship, but it was just the beginning of Elizabeth's turbulent love life. And as we'll see, things only got more complex and scandalous from here. Just 3 months after her broken engagement with Glenn Davis, Elizabeth found herself engaged again, this time to 28-year-old billionaire Bill Pauley Jr. They had met while on vacation in Florida, and despite their 16-year age difference, they quickly fell for each other. But Elizabeth's whirlwind romance with Bill had its challenges. He was a pilot in the Army stationed overseas, making a long-distance relationship difficult. Yet the couple managed to stay connected through letters and frequent phone calls. Unfortunately, their love story did not have a happy ending. Elizabeth's acting career took off, and as she became more focused on her work, the distance between her and Bill grew. Eventually, they called off their engagement and went their separate ways. After 2 failed engagements, Elizabeth found love in the arms of actor Robert Wagner. They met on the set of The Big Hangover in 1949 and quickly fell for each other. Despite their 18-year age difference, they seemed to have a strong connection. But behind closed doors, their relationship was far from perfect. Robert was known for his charm and good looks, but he also had a dark side. Many believe that he was responsible for the death of his late wife, Natalie Wood. Natalie was also an actress and died under mysterious circumstances in 1981 while on a boating trip with Robert and her co-star Christopher Walken. The case was initially ruled as an accidental drowning, but it was reopened in 2011 after new evidence emerged. William Daly, the captain of Robert's boat at the time, claimed that he heard a fight between Natalie and Robert before she went missing. He also stated that he saw bruises on Natalie's body after her death, leading to speculation that she was in fact murdered. While Robert has always maintained his innocence and the case remains unsolved, it's hard not to wonder about Elizabeth's safety during her relationship with him. Thankfully, she did not share the same fate as Natalie, and within the same year when they started dating, their relationship ended. The most publicized and tumultuous relationship of Elizabeth's life was with Conrad Nicky Hilton, son of hotelier Conrad Hilton. They met in 1949 at the Mocambo nightclub in Los Angeles and were married less than a year later on May 6, 1950. Their wedding was the talk of Hollywood, with 600 guests in attendance and over 3,000 fans outside. Elizabeth wore a $3,500 gown that was paid for by MGM Studios as a gift for her upcoming film, Father of the Bride. However, their marriage quickly turned sour. Nikki's abusive behavior became unbearable, and they divorced just 8 months later. In her 1965 memoir, Elizabeth wrote about their honeymoon in Europe and how it lasted only 2 weeks before the disillusionment, rude and brutal, set in. While Nikki's behavior was certainly a major factor in the downfall of their marriage, many also believe that he married Elizabeth for her fame and fortune. He was known to be a playboy and had a history of failed relationships, including a previous marriage at the young age of 18. In the end, their short-lived and tumultuous marriage only added to Elizabeth's reputation as a Hollywood bombshell with a dramatic love life. But despite the ups and downs, she never gave up on finding true love. And as we'll see, her persistence paid off in the end. Her next marriage would last for over a decade and bring her some of the greatest joys of her life. Just 1 year after her divorce from Nicky Hilton, Elizabeth met British actor Michael Wilding on the set of Ivanhoe. Despite their 20-year age difference, the two fell in love and married in 1952. Their marriage was a much-needed respite for Elizabeth after her tumultuous relationship with Nicky. Michael was known for his charm and sense of humor, which Elizabeth found irresistible. They also had 2 children together, Michael Jr. and Christopher, and Elizabeth described Michael as a wonderful father. However, their marriage was not without its challenges. Elizabeth's career was taking off, and her constant travel and demanding schedule put a strain on their relationship. In 1957, just 5 years after they married, Elizabeth and Michael divorced. While their marriage may not have lasted, the love and respect between them remained. In an interview with People in 2006, Elizabeth spoke fondly of her ex-husband, saying that he was a wonderful father and that she had no regrets about their time together. And in true Elizabeth Taylor fashion, she didn't let the end of her marriage stop her from finding love again. Just a month after her divorce from Michael Wilding, she met the love of her life, producer Mike Todd. And as we'll see, their love story was one for the ages. Elizabeth and Mike met at a sailing party in 1957, and it was love at first sight. In her book, Elizabeth Takes Off, she wrote, "I was the happiest with Mike Todd." She also said that under his loving care, her self-esteem and image soared. Mike was known for his extravagant gestures, and he spared no expense when it came to showing his love for Elizabeth. He famously surprised her with a display of Van Cleef and Arpels jewelry and would shower her with lavish gifts. Their marriage was a whirlwind of love and excitement, but sadly, it ended all too soon. In 1958, just 1 year after they married, Mike was killed in a plane crash while on a business trip. Elizabeth was devastated by his death and later recalled that all she could do was scream, "No, no, no, not Mike, not Mike, dear God, please not Mike." Their marriage may have been short, but it was also one of the happiest times in Elizabeth's life. Following Mike's tragic death, Elizabeth turned to her good friend Eddie Fisher for support. But their relationship soon turned romantic, and in 1959, just 2 years after Mike's death, they were married in a lavish ceremony at Temple Israel in New York. Their relationship caused quite the scandal, as Eddie had left his wife Debbie Reynolds, who was also Elizabeth's close friend, to be with her. But despite the controversy, they were deeply in love, and Elizabeth even converted to Judaism for him. However, their happiness was short-lived. Eddie's career began to decline, and he became increasingly jealous of Elizabeth's success and close relationship with her co-star Richard Burton. They divorced in 1964 after 5 tumultuous years of marriage. While Elizabeth may have found comfort in Eddie initially after Mike's death, it's clear that their relationship was not meant to last, and it would be her next marriage that would change her life forever. In 1964, Elizabeth met Richard Burton on the set of Cleopatra, and it was love at first sight for both of them. Despite both being married to other people at the time, they began a passionate affair that would ultimately lead to their divorces and their marriage in 1964. From the very beginning, their relationship was filled with passion and drama. They were both known for their fiery personalities, and this often led to explosive fights. But they also shared a deep love and connection that was evident to anyone who saw them together. Their marriage was the subject of much media attention, and they were dubbed the Battling Burtons. However, despite their tumultuous relationship, they remained together for 10 years before divorcing in 1974. Despite the end of their marriage, Richard would always hold a special place in Elizabeth's heart. In her own words, he was practically my whole adult life, and she would always love him. Another love interest that is often rumored to have been involved with Elizabeth was actor Peter O'Toole. While there is no concrete evidence of a romantic relationship between the two, it is believed that they had an affair during the 1970s. According to friends, Peter once told his friend Richard Burton, "She tells me I'm much better in the sack, at least more reliable than you are." While we may never know the full truth of their relationship, it is clear that Elizabeth had many admirers throughout her life. In a true full-circle moment, Elizabeth and Richard rekindled their love in 1975, less than a year after their divorce. According to Marie Claire UK, they met up to discuss financial affairs but ended up crying in each other's arms. This led to a secret wedding at Kobe National Park in Botswana. Their reunion was short-lived and they divorced for the second time just 1 year later. However, their love for each other never truly died. Elizabeth always spoke highly of Richard, and even after his death in 1984, she kept a final love letter from him by her bedside. But perhaps the most scandalous and shocking love affair of Elizabeth's life was with legendary singer Frank Sinatra. Rumors of their relationship have been swirling for decades, but it wasn't until the release of His Way, the unauthorized biography of Frank Sinatra, that details began to emerge. According to the book, not only did Elizabeth and Frank have an affair towards the end of her marriage to Michael Wilding, but she reportedly fell pregnant with his child. However, Frank allegedly arranged for Elizabeth to have an abortion instead of marrying her, as he was still married to his wife Ava Gardner at the time. Despite this betrayal, Elizabeth and Frank remained friends and even rekindled their romance in the 1960s. However, they never officially got back together or publicly acknowledged their affair. John Warner, 1976 to 1982. In 1976, Elizabeth decided to give marriage another try and tied the knot with U.S. Secretary of the Navy, John Warner. They met at a dinner for Queen Elizabeth II in Washington, D.C., and bonded over their love of horses. Their relationship seemed to be a happy one, but Elizabeth later admitted that she didn't enjoy being a senator's wife. She felt restricted in her fashion choices and longed for the freedom to wear what she wanted. Despite this, they remained friendly after their divorce in 1982 until Elizabeth's death. After her divorce from John Warner, Elizabeth found love once again in the form of actor Anthony Geary. It was a relatively short and discreet relationship, but according to Anthony himself, they were more than just friends. In an exclusive interview on The Wendy Williams Show, he revealed that they were together on and off for 2 years. He even referred to himself as her boy toy. However, their relationship never really went public, and they eventually went their separate ways. In 1983, Elizabeth's love life took another interesting turn when she became engaged to successful Mexican lawyer Victor Luna. The two were introduced by mutual friends and quickly fell for each other. Their relationship was a whirlwind, and they were even planning a lavish wedding in Mexico. Elizabeth was ready to start a new chapter with Victor, who had given her a stunning 16-carat sapphire ring. However, their happiness was short-lived as they broke up in 1984 without ever making it down the aisle. Following her engagement with Victor, Elizabeth had another brief but memorable romance with actor George Hamilton. The two were introduced by mutual friend Joan Collins and dated for around a year. In an interview with Daily Mail, George revealed that they remained friends until Elizabeth's death and that he had many personal memories with her. Although their relationship didn't last long, it was clear that Elizabeth had a special place in George's heart. Well, into the later years of her life, Elizabeth found love once again in the most unexpected place, rehab. It was here that she met her 8th and final husband, Larry Fortensky. Despite their 20-year age difference, Elizabeth and Larry fell for each other instantly. They were married at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch in 1991 and remained together until 1996. According to Larry, Elizabeth was funny and sweet, and they had an instant physical attraction when they first met. Their marriage was met with much controversy and criticism, but Elizabeth didn't let that affect their love for each other. However, the spotlight proved to be too much for Larry, and he struggled with the attention that came with being married to a Hollywood legend. Ultimately, their differing lifestyles and lack of mutual respect led to their divorce in 1996. After her divorce from Larry, Elizabeth took a break from the dating scene for some time. However, she once again found love with Irish actor Colin Farrell in 2009. Their relationship was kept private and only came to light after Colin revealed it on The Ellen DeGeneres Show in 2013. According to him, they met when his son Henry was born and Elizabeth was dealing with her heart issues at the same hospital. They exchanged flowers and couldn't stop thinking about each other. This led to a nearly 2-year relationship before Elizabeth's passing in 2011. It's clear that Elizabeth had many romantic relationships throughout her life, some more public than others. From Richard Burton to Colin Farrell, she always seemed to have a special connection with the men in her life. Despite her tumultuous love life, it's evident that Elizabeth was a hopeless romantic at heart and believed in the power of true love until the very end. She will always be remembered as one of Hollywood's greatest icons, and her love affairs will forever captivate us. For more such videos about beautiful actresses of old Hollywood, watch the videos on the end screen.